name is Andrew Coyne. I'm a columnist with Post Media, the National Post. Well, I'll have to look at the numbers. I mean, if it's just sort of 1 month's numbers, you can't get too excited about it. I'm not keen anytime I see inflation getting above 2%, or in fact, I'd like to see it lower. I'm not going to worry about that number so much. I'm a little worried when I see people expressing a preference to say we'd like to get inflation up to 4% or 6%. We've been down that road in the 70s and 80s and 90s. I don't want to ever go back there. That causes all kinds of dislocations in the economy. It's very painful to get rid of. So 2% inflation I'm okay with, but let's keep it no higher than that. The main thing I was trying to tell people is, I guess, keep your eye on the ball. There's a lot of things that people will tell you are bedeviling the economy, and in fact, in the short-term sense, the economy is actually doing quite well. Obviously, we always like it to be better, but we've got low unemployment, relatively speaking. We've got low inflation. We've got rising middle-class incomes. We've got declining poverty. There's a lot of things going well in the economy, but we've got this big challenge ahead of us that's already starting to come upon us now, which is the aging of the population. So we're going to have a lot more elderly people who, and I speak as a future old person, cost a lot for health care. Particularly, and we've also got we're going to have relatively fewer people of working age to pay the costs of that health care. So that's a big challenge, and there's no kind of quick, simple, easy solution to that. It's going to require sustained growth in productivity. We've had very low, very slow growth in productivity in recent decades. We're going to need to sustain it, to accelerate it, and to do that year after year after year. If we do that, if we get that going for 20, 30, 40 years of higher productivity growth and higher economic growth, then that next generation or two will be so much wealthier than we are that they'll be able to afford to pay those much higher costs of healthcare. People will make those kind of difficult decisions they have to make to drive productivity growth, which don't involve, let's come up with some amazing new invention. It's typically just 1,000 little things that involve adopting best practices that are already being done somewhere else, or sometimes involve painful decisions about laying people off, etc., that nobody likes to go through. People don't do that until they have to. And what drives them to have to do it, as simple as it sounds, is competition. And in all of the voluminous literature on productivity growth, that's the single thing that's most often talked about, is intense local competition is what drives people to make all those decisions they have to. So we need to be much more open as a society to competition from foreign companies, to breaking down some of these cartels and duopolies that we've set up in important industries in Canada. That's going to be a big challenge, and there's going to be vested interests opposed to it. So at the political level, the political leadership we're going to need for that is, I think it's going to require, paradoxically, less leadership, top-down, leader-focused politics, and much more openness to new ideas coming in from ordinary MPs, ordinary members of the legislature, being freer to talk with their mind and to broaden the debate from just what the leaders want to talk about. And part of the reason we need that is to get buy-in from the public when we do make some of these difficult choices politically, that people have to have a sense that they were heard, that their concerns were registered, that it wasn't just rammed down their throat, that it was explained to them why we needed to do this. That's going to require a much more open, participatory politics. So the kind of leader-driven politics that we've been accustomed to, I don't think is going to be sufficient for the kind of policy challenges that we're facing.